All right, here is the latest, making landfall here just within the last half hour or so. And you can see the expansive rain from the Virginia line and really offshore Virginia all the way down off of Charleston. And all of this is pushing in our direction. As Chris mentioned, it's going to be a 1-2 punch here. It's going to be the wind and it's going to be the heavy rain that's heading in our direction.
Al, you kept warning us about these wind gusts. That has been our biggest issue this morning, especially over the past 30 minutes. They're really starting to pick up. I'm telling you, it's every bit of almost 85 miles per hour, as you were saying. Christine, I'm starting to see debris everywhere. This is the most intense it's been all morning long. I will say trees are very scary at this point because we're seeing trees fly across the roadway. Street signs cannot withstand this anymore. We're starting to see street signs go as well.
The torrential rains from Florence are gone, but the devastating flooding continues. Some of the worst floodwaters are just now hitting the town of Lumberton and surrounding areas, which is where our investigative reporter Nick Oxner went today for a tour of the damage.
This was the scene in Robeson County Thursday afternoon as the Lumber River, which spilled over its banks days earlier, continued to rage.
I might have some insulation wet, but it didn't get in my house.
Kyle Cummings and his wife braved the water to get back to their house. They said they had to leave in a hurry days ago when the water suddenly began to rise.
To me, it was more or less like a dam broke loose somewhere. It didn't, because I've been here for years. It didn't seem like rainwater would rise that fast.
The Cummings weren't alone in being forced from their home by the rising water, which isn't expected to go away for another few days or even a week. Water made its way into homes, businesses, and roads all over town, forcing thousands of people out. We're in Lumberton right now. Take a look. This is Hyde Park Baptist Church. It's one of the staging grounds for the Baptist men. Right now they're doing a drive-through where people can stop in and get a hot meal. And take a look. This is staggering. The traffic to get that hot meal, which could be one of just a few for people here in Lumberton since the storm, stretches way down the street. We're still driving now. We're blocks away from where the pickup line is at the Baptist Church to get that meal. And look, the cars are still waiting in the line. You can tell it's so long even that police have to direct traffic. It's a particularly hard storm to weather for residents who are still recovering from Hurricane Matthew that hit 2 years ago. Some areas hit hard by Matthew got hit again. Other places, like Cummings' house, got hit harder this time.
They called Matthew the 500-year flood. I reckon the good Lord just showed people you didn't have to wait 500 years to get another.
Reporting in Robeson County, Nick Oxner, Wbtv, on your side.
We introduced you to Stephanie Morton and her daughter, Janessa, who is a sexual assault survivor. They acted after finding out there was no law in South Carolina preventing a registered sex offender from working or volunteering with children. 6 months after they spoke to us about the issue, a bill changing that has been signed into law by the governor. WBTV's Christy O'Connor has been sharing their story since the beginning.
To say the Mortons are excited about this bill is an understatement. They're thrilled to know that their voices made a difference. And it wasn't easy, especially not for 15-year-old Janessa, who shared the horror she endured at just 5 years old. Her mom realized it not only helped save other children, it healed Janessa too. In November, we shared Janessa Bowles Morton's story, a 15-year-old girl who's still healing from sexual abuse she endured as a toddler. In September, she was in shock after she saw the man who was convicted of abusing her working with children.
It just kind of slapped me in the face.
More shock set in when she learned there was no law in South Carolina saying a registered sex offender could not work near children. Now, there is one.
I was just tickled, this bill started right here in Chesterfield County.
After taking her concerns to Representative Richie Yao, he introduced a bill that would prevent registered sex offenders from working or volunteering with kids.
Senate 595.
In May, a similar bill was moving quickly through the Senate, so Yao tacked on his changes that were inspired by Janessa.
We went through that in Chesterfield County. We had a 15-year-old girl that went to a park that was a birthday park. And when she got there, the sex offender was putting the children on the horses.
Thursday night, Governor Henry McMaster signed the bill into law.
And we don't want that to happen again in South Carolina. We care for our children.
Changing state law was Janessa's goal, but her mom, Stephanie, says she's achieved so much more.
That is something that was hard for her, but in essence, it made her so much stronger.
Since she spoke to us,
I've still got the
without a fire left in me.
She's been singing and speaking publicly to heal and to help other sexual assault survivors.
Just glad that she could help other kids. I'm just glad that, kids in South Carolina are going to be safer.
This bill makes it a felony if a sex offender is found to be working or volunteering near a child. There is an exemption, but it has to be approved by a circuit court judge. Reporting in Chesterfield, Christy O'Connor, WBTV, on your side.
WBTV News starts right now with breaking news.
And that breaking news from the campus of UNC Charlotte. Sky 3 is live over the scene where we have been following reports of an active shooter situation at the library there. We're told the Kennedy building or the library may be where that active shooter situation unfolded. Sources with CMPD say one person, Jamie, is in custody right now.
We are working to gather new information. The reports we've got from the campus there is that it is on lockdown right now. Again, live pictures here from Sky 3 as we come on the air here at 6 o'clock. Report of a shooting on the UNC Charlotte campus. The picture there zooming out right now to get the broader view of the campus. The Kennedy building, in fact, is one of the oldest facilities there on campus, one of two of the original facilities there on campus. So it's a very recognizable place. And now you can see as Sky 3 moves around the buildings there, the heavy police presence. And Maureen, this is one of the protocols that we have seen as a result of active shooter situations across the country, that you flood the scene immediately and get as many folks on the ground as you can. Let's go live on the ground right now. WBTV's Amanda Foster is there on campus. Amanda, set the scene for us from what you're seeing.
Well, you can see still just that row of emergency vehicles here lining this area as some students are still lingering in this spot where we are. Many of them are here trying to reach some of their friends that they haven't been able to hear from in the last hour, trying to figure out if they're okay and where they are.
The suspect spent hours here at CMPD's Law Enforcement Center.
Mr. Terrell, what happened? Can you tell us what happened?
The young man was brought in handcuffs. Police sources tell me that last semester he withdrew from all but one of his classes. And it was that class, anthropology, that he went to in the Kennedy building armed with a pistol. The question is, why did he go on the rampage? A source says the man didn't aim for specific people, but began shooting randomly. 2 people died. 4 others were injured, 3 in critical condition. Campus police say when dispatch got the call, officers raced over to the building and simultaneously locked down the campus. Police say they disarmed the man and arrested him quickly.
Horror inside a UNC Charlotte classroom. A student and a teacher now hailed as heroes, putting their lives in danger to save others during a deadly mass shooting on campus.
What you may not hear is the first and foremost hero, as far as I'm concerned, and his name is Riley Howell.
And sadly, that hero student, Riley Howell, did not survive. And this evening we are hearing from friends and loved ones who say they're not surprised he gave his life to save others. Hello and welcome. I'm Molly Grantham.
And I'm Alex Giles. 21-year-old Riley was one of 2 students killed in Tuesday's shooting in Kennedy Hall. 19-year-old Ellis Parlier was also killed. 4 other students, Rami Al-Ramadan, Sean DeHart, Emily Hout, and Drew Pescaro, were wounded in that incident.
Riley Howell, Alex, will be remembered as a hero, as you just heard Chief Kirputney say. A first-year UNCC student who stood up to protect his classmates when police say a former student entered their classroom and started shooting. Today, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Chief Putney detailed Howell's heroic actions.
His family, as you might imagine, is traumatized. They're devastated. But when I spoke to the father, one father to another, I told him personally, I wish I had words. But his son, seeing exactly what was going on, did exactly what we train people to do. You're either going to run, you're going to hide and shield, or you're going to take the fight to the assailant. Having no place to run and hide, he did the last. But for his work, the assailant may not have been disarmed. Unfortunately, he gave his life in the process. But his sacrifice saved lives.
Waynesville was home to Howell, so was Asheville. People in those communities tonight are devastated by his death, but also proud they say they knew him. WBTV Steve Onesorge has more for you now at 5.
When Fletcher Hyman heard about the gunfire at UNCC last night, he tried and tried to call his friend. And then the news came. Riley Howell was gone.
It's going to be hard.
The two went to school together at T.C. Roberson High School in Asheville. Though Riley lived in Waynesville, his mom was a teacher in Asheville, so he went to school there, made plenty of friends.
And there would always be a smile on his face.
He and Riley hiked these hills, camped out more times than a few. That's Riley there.
He just loved being out here in this beautiful world and just enjoying every second of it.
At the old high school where Riley graduated in 2016, there was a moment of silence today.
Very tough day for everyone.
Many here, like Lisbeth Maldonado, knew Riley because of his mom.
She was one of my teachers.
No matter how you knew him, Will Soul says sadness gripped all today.
Everyone just knows the Howells family. They're just so respected, and they do so much for this community.
And yesterday at UNCC, Riley did even more, trying to stop a gunman, giving his life in the process. The family is not making any comment on camera, but has released a statement talking about Riley's love of the outdoors. And they added this, that he always was able to put others before himself and never hesitated to help anyone who needed it. So it's no surprise, says Fletcher, that Riley did what he did yesterday.
He was one of the better people that I knew, and that's hands down.
And many will miss him, he says. In Waynesville, Steve Onesorge, WBTV, on your side.
For years, the YMCA of Greater Charlotte has been doing a program to help cut down on the number of drownings that we see here in Mecklenburg County.
It's their Safety Around the Water program, and they introduced it at a time where the county was #1 in these tragedies. Now they're seeing the changes. Our Sharon Hayes is live at the YMCA right now to tell us more about this program. Sharon.
Good morning, Christine. Yes, this program has been super successful since it was introduced back in 2015. And essentially, the Safety Around Water program goes around to different apartment complexes and teaches kids not only how to swim, but families how to survive in an emergency situation. Take a look.
Great job. Keep looking at me.
It's a crash course on water safety.
Most drownings are going to happen within 10 feet of someone else or within safety. The statistics are alarming.
So much so that YMCA's Safety Around Water program has grown in Mecklenburg County to now teaching 1,000 kids and families at no charge.
They're going to go swimming. It's going to be hot. Knowing that they have some type of water safety skills and just knowledge around the water is so important to these parents.
Again, I call this the monkey walk.
We asked the swim instructors at the Y to walk us through these important skills, life-saving techniques that almost anyone can learn. First,
jump, push, turn, and grab. So if they fall into water that's over their head, how they can push off the bottom, turn around, and grab onto the wall.
Next,
swim, float, swim. So how if you're swimming, if you need to catch your breath, turn around, float on your back, catch your breath, and then get yourself to the wall.
For those who can't swim and are sitting poolside, even you can know a rescue method to save the life without endangering yourself.
Reach, throw, or row, but you would never go, because then they could grab you and pull you under, especially if it's an adult and they're panicked.
Hey, focus on me.
Never breaking eye contact.
Awesome job. Very good.
Or positive affirmations. All reassuring tips for a scary situation.
I just told every single aquatic instructor to pray over their water before we open our pools, because anything can happen at any time, even under a protective watch.
Well, there you have it. Those were a few of the tips there, and they are as easy as they look. And what I'm going to do in our 6 o'clock hour, I'm going to get in the water here, and I'm going to show you how easy it is by demonstrating some of those techniques. So you definitely want to stick around. I can show you what you can do if you ever find yourself in an emergency situation. I'm Sharon Hayes, reporting live from the YMCA. WBTV on your side.
The search expanded Monday for 6-year-old Maddox Rich. As officials continued to scour the area, neighbors continued to pray for good news.
It's really sad because I have a 6-year-old myself, so it's sad.
I hope they find him well and get him back home.
Neighbor Clyde Four lives less than a block from the park entrance. He says he's searched the property behind his home and his neighbors, even their shed and the brush nearby. Four says he knows Rankin Lake Park well and is worried about where the boy might be.
There's no way that young kid could run that far around over that bridge and back around without somebody seeing him.
But one woman believes she did see Maddox. We spoke with a woman who says she was at the park for her church picnic Saturday and saw a little boy running alone. But she says he didn't look scared, just seemed like he was playing.
So when he got it behind us, we had turned around and was like, "Hey, buddy, you tired?" Well, he looked up at us, and that was it. He didn't say anything to us. So we just kept watching him, and we was like, man, where's his parents at? You know, he looked young to be out here by himself.
Officials would not confirm any details about the case, any leads they're following, or information about Maddox's family, only saying they're not ruling anything out.
It's the ending no one wanted.
It is horrible.
Closure for the family, but still tough for all to take.
And everybody was praying for a better outcome.
One thing search crews had to figure out in all this is how the young boy could wander off with no one seeing him. Could he cross Highway 321? Yes, it turns out, say local folks. So there is a way from Rankin Lake to right up the road here.
There is. There is a trail that cuts under 321 right there.
This is that trail. It follows Long Creek in a direct line from Rankin Lake. There are places where choppers can't see the trail. The Dallas Highway is the next road after Highway 321. The place where they found him is just down this road, around the curve and across the bridge, right next to Long Creek, pretty much along that path that we showed you. Patrol cars have it blocked off now. I saw one investigator peering over the bridge to the scene. Also, I spotted searchers backtracking the path back to Rankin Lake.
I'm praying for the family.
The community is saddened tonight. A difficult situation for everyone, they tell me. That little boy is still in their thoughts.
I hope wherever he's at, he has peace.
It was a very tough day, and I spoke with friends of Carrie Rich, Maddox's mother, who could only use the word heartbreak to describe the funeral services today, a funeral this family never wanted to have. Family and friends gathered at Raymer Kepner Funeral Home in Huntersville Friday afternoon to officially lay little Maddox Rich to rest, almost 2 weeks after the sweet 6-year-old went missing in Gastonia. It's been a roller coaster for the Rich family, from the search to the sadness that set in the day Maddox was found. But even through the devastation, family says they're forever grateful to those who searched.
Your heartfelt perseverance through this very difficult time will never be forgotten.
Maddox's story touched the law enforcement, the searchers, and even complete strangers who found themselves following the case as it unfolded. And the Rich family says they can feel that support that the community has poured out to them in this tragic time.
We realize that our prayers are your prayers also, and that our tears are your tears too.
Such a massive hole left by such a little boy who will always be remembered for his laughter and light. The family left the funeral home here around lunchtime and were escorted by Huntersville police to a private burial where they will lay little Maddox to rest. In Huntersville, Lauren Tostenson, WBTV, on your side.
Breaking now at 6.
This election has been tainted.
We're on your side with major developments in an election fraud investigation.
She just said that she was here to pick up my ballot.
Tonight, we've uncovered a second reported plan to pay people to illegally collect unsealed ballots.
These allegations are incredibly serious.
Only WBTV has exclusive new information in this ongoing investigation into voting irregularities in the 9th Congressional District race between Mark Harris and Dan McCready.
The State Board of Elections has refused to certify the results of that race. And today, WBTV's investigative reporter Nick Oxner obtained a new document showing there may be multiple efforts to illegally collect those unsealed absentee ballots and pay people for them. Nick is live now in Bladen County walking us through what he's uncovered. Nick?
Yeah, Maureen, Paul, up until today, the scrutiny over these irregularities with absentee ballots had really been placed on one guy who is paid by a consultant for the Mark Harris campaign to collect these absentee ballots here in Bladen County. But this page of handwritten notes that I obtained today shows that there's a second operation to collect these unsealed absentee ballots in exchange for cash. Picking up existing ballots unsealed. That's what's written and underlined at the top of this page of handwritten notes obtained by WBTV. Two sources who provided the notes say they were left behind after a meeting of campaign workers in early April and made by a man named Jeff Smith, a local businessman and elected official who supported Bill Ward, who was challenging the incumbent sheriff in the Republican primary.
Superior Court is an expensive endeavor.
Smith has had a long-running feud with the Bladen County Sheriff stemming from his ownership of a sweepstakes parlor. But his notes, which were also reviewed by Bladen County Commissioner Ray Britt, suggest he was getting paid to collect ballots for Ward. $500 for 150 unsealed ballots, $1,000 for 250. In a text message, Smith said he never had an arrangement with Ward, but didn't directly respond when a reporter sent this picture of the notes. Similarly, Ward said he had no knowledge of any absentee ballot collection operation. Now, also today, I was able to confirm that the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation and the Wake County District Attorney have had a criminal investigation into voting irregularities here in Bladen County, dating all the way back to January of 2017. Now, I specifically asked the District Attorney there in Wake County this afternoon if there was one target or multiple targets of that criminal investigation. She said there were several potential targets of the criminal investigation. She wouldn't give me any names just yet. For now, reporting live in Bladen County, Nick Oxner, WBTV, on your side.
Businesses across the Charlotte area continue to find new ways to offer customers legal forms of CBD, like a different kind of specially smoked cocktail.
Usually it's with wood chips, but this is with CBD flower.
But new regulations coming down as early as next week will shape their approach, and these businesses want to make sure they comply.
That we're able to give the public something that they want, but we also want to make sure that we're doing it in the right, responsible way as well.
For CBD shops, that'll mean eliminating an entire portion of CBD-infused products, but not before they go on discount.
We'll offer these products until we're told we can't sell them, but we won't be replenishing our stock of them.
So what will these new regulations be? The Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services tells us they'll prohibit any CBD products advertising health claims, any dietary supplements like vitamins, and any CBD in food.
Now that it's been characterized and approved as a drug, it can't be included in nutritional supplements as an additive. It likewise cannot be included in food products as well.
It's that new food rule that might impact businesses the most. Sales reps say CBD-infused products you consume as food or drink have been hot ticket items.
They've been a big part of our business, and it will definitely hurt us some.
These Charlotte spots haven't been given their official letter with the regulations, but everyone we talked with Friday says they're making preparations to stay within the law when they come down.
Regulation, whether we believe in it or not, is important to us, and we're not trying to cause any more issues or bring any more stigma to the whole movement.
So far, the Charlotte Diocese hasn't released a list of all priests credibly accused of abusing children, but it could. And the man I spoke with, who was abused as a child in the 1990s, said he's speaking now and hopes his words would push the church to publicly identify abusive priests.
I feel like my childhood was robbed. I feel like this has taken decades away from what I could have potentially offered society.
Douglas Dickerson says he was 13 when he first tried to jump off the roof of St. Elizabeth's of the Hill Country Catholic Church in Boone. It's got to be traumatic that something happened to you so bad that you wanted to take your own life.
Yeah, at 13, it was the only way out that I could figure because I wasn't comprehending or understanding the situation that was happening to me at that time. I wasn't capable of understanding that. You know, I was put in a position with somebody of power and trust, and I feel like that was violated.
Dickerson says he was first abused by Father Cornell Bradley. A priest. Did you expect your parish priest to do that to you?
No, absolutely not.
But new records released by a Catholic order of priests in Maryland this past December shows someone could have known. This document shows Bradley faced multiple allegations of sexual abuse in Maryland and Washington, D.C. in the 1970s and 80s before he came to North Carolina.
It feels like St. Elizabeth's, well, more so the Charlotte Diocese, did have a role in being able to prevent something like this, and they didn't do their part.
It's unclear whether the Charlotte Diocese knew of Bradley's previous allegations when he came to North Carolina. A spokesman for the Charlotte Diocese refused our request for an on-camera interview and called our report gotcha journalism. But in January, that same diocesan spokesman told a newspaper in Boone there were no allegations of abuse against Bradley when he worked in the diocese. The diocese has said that they don't think Father Bradley had any victims at St. Elizabeth's.
The diocese is wrong.
Dickerson says he was abused by a second priest, too, Father Damian Lynch. Dickerson says Lynch fondled him on multiple occasions, once on a youth group trip to Carowinds and also at the priest's residence. This isn't the first time Lynch has been accused of sexually abusing young boys. A family filed a lawsuit against the church and Lynch himself regarding allegations of abuse in the late 90s. The lawsuit was settled out of court. In a sworn deposition in that case, then Bishop of Charlotte William Curlin said Lynch was sent away for counseling, but returned after doctors determined he wasn't a pedophile.
I think that there are some dioceses that are accepting responsibility, accepting their accountability. The Charlotte Diocese is not one of them.
They have not made the kind of substantive changes that protect children or deal with the priests and why it happens in the first place.
Mary Gail Frawley O'Day is a counselor who works with victims of abuse. She's even spoken to Catholic bishops in the U.S. about how best to handle abuse cases by priests.
It's a big deal. Sexual abuse is a big deal.
We've seen some dioceses across the country release lists of known abusers. Is that a helpful step in your opinion?
I think it is very helpful. It's validating to the victims.
But the Charlotte Diocese hasn't released a comprehensive list of known abusers. Dickerson says he'd like to see that change, but doesn't think it will.
I think that, you know, putting people, as I mentioned earlier, you know, people in positions of power and trust, they feel as if they're above the law. They feel like they can sweep things under the rug.
If you've been the victim of abuse at the hands of a Catholic priest or any other religious leader, we want to hear from you. Call our tip line at 704-374-3511.
I wanted people to know what kind of dealership that place is.
Darlene Inslee is one of 10 people who filed complaints with the North Carolina Department of Justice against Key of Gastonia. More than 40 people have reached out to WBTV claiming they were taken advantage of by Key of Gastonia, and 11 of them have provided credit applications that show their incomes were falsified on their loan applications. Tiffany Crockett also filed a complaint on behalf of her mother.
So she didn't fill out this application?
No.
She doesn't make $4,600 a month?
No.
It's not just customers claiming this, but now one of the lenders. In July 2018, Grow Financial Credit Union filed this lawsuit against Grassroots Associates, which also goes by Key of Gastonia. The lawsuit was settled in April of this year. In the complaint, Grow identified 9 different customers whose monthly income was inflated, and the dealership promised the monthly payments could be refinanced in 6 months or more. The lawsuit claims one customer's loan application indicated their income was $5,981 a month. In reality, the customer was making $952 a month. Grow claims in the lawsuit all of this happened between November 15, 2017 and January 19, 2018, and that Key of Gastonia, quote, purposefully inflated its customers' income and or other information on the loan documents for the purpose of inducing Grow Financial to acquire loans that otherwise would not qualify, and that the dealership and its employees actively encouraged and condoned its customers' inflation of their income. In addition to their lawsuit, Grow Financial filed this criminal complaint with the North Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles. We've confirmed the DMV investigated and turned over its findings to the Gaston County District Attorney, who hasn't taken any public action and didn't return multiple phone calls about this story.
Maureen, they sure have been enjoying all this snow. They say they'll never turn around 18 inches of fresh powder, although they say they will start making more snow tonight, which is pretty hard to believe because the conditions right now are pretty amazing. Lots of people out here taking advantage of it. Last night they packed this snow down and groomed it so that fortunately the conditions are just perfect. You can see you can slide right down the mountain and it's just so much fun. They say they're excited because they're getting ski season started early here, which is fun for them, of course. They say they didn't have any problems. The only problem really is people getting here. Some of those secondary roads can be a little tough to get up here. But other than that, once you're on the mountain, things are good to go. I'm going to see you at the bottom. Back to you guys.
Oh, we want to watch this. Is there any way, Jess, we can keep watching this? Oh, stick with it. Look at her go.
She's done this once or twice before, right?
I think so.
Off she goes, down to the bottom of the hill. That was pretty cool stuff.
Very cool.